Some songs out in the 90s. We did a body of work, an album called, it was titled If I Ever Fall in Love, the same as the single. So yeah, we were signed to Gasoline Alley MCA Records. Mm-hmm. And yeah, man, it was a good time, man. We Randy Phillips and his staff at Gasoline Alley, Al Teller at MCA, all of the staff, AD Washington, Ernie Singleton, you know, all the street reps, you know, everybody came together, man, and we contributed, I think, some good songs, and everybody made it work, man, and it was a blessing. It was it was good to, you know, just exchange that kind of energy with supporters, fans, going around the world, and, you know, having that song and those songs be able to afford us that, you know, platform to be able to, you know, have that exchange with people, that energy exchange, you know, so that was a blessing.
And did, so you're originally from New Jersey, right?
Yes, sir, Patterson.
Okay. So how was it like coming up there and, you know, growing up, you know, musically and everything? Did you come up in the church, or did you just, you know, went off and did your own thing and started singing on your own?
You know, it's funny, man, because a little known thing, you know, that movie Lean on Me.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was my high school, right?
Yeah.
So they showed Joe Clark and they showed all of that part of the story, but we had a marching band, man, that for that part of the city, for that part of the state, you know, for that region in general, marching bands at that time weren't really a big thing, right?
Yeah.
So for you know, there's a brother named Mr. Nelson, Mr. William Peter Nelson. He was my band director. And yeah, the East Side Marching Band, you ask anybody from 70s on up to about the late 80s, man, the East Side Marching Band was the thing, you know. So I say all that to say that really had more of an influence. I kind of came into music on the trumpet first. You know, I played trumpet. Yeah, and through the band and through concert band, jazz band. Once I got into it, I just, you know, I got really into it. And I got me some scholarship money, was able to go to Howard from my trumpet. And yeah, so that's how I met Garfield freshman year.
Y'all dorm together.
Yeah, it was my roommate.
Ain't that, because so pretty much y'all was pretty much like the Baby I'm Yours video. That's pretty much how they were.
Yeah, that's why we put that scene in there.
That's crazy, yo. He told me when he initially walked in the room, you was laying on your bed like face up, like what's up, like playing with instruments and stuff. He's like, that's how I met him. He's a cool dude. So he bigged you up, definitely.
Yeah, that's my man. It's like my brother from another mother and father.
And so you got to Howard on a scholarship for trumpet. Like, is there anything else you wanted to do? Like, I know obviously you sang, but is there did you play sports, you know, coming up and anything?
Oh yeah, man. That's funny because I played basketball mostly. You know, I played in the city leagues, and then I even played for the freshman squad at Eastside. I was one of the captains, starting point guard. And in my mind, it was like, as far as I ran cross country too, but that was kind of by default because I remember we had the freshman assembly and they had the coaches come up asking who wanted to do what. And of course, when the basketball coach came up, like 500 hands went up in the air. So the basketball coach was like, I tell you what, man, if y'all serious, whoever wants to really come out, I suggest y'all go out for cross country. I didn't know what cross country was, but I was like, if it'll give me a leg up on making a squad, I'm gonna do it. You know what I mean?
You was out there
But
running through
we
the
ended
woods
up,
and stuff.
yeah, well, it's funny because it was about 10 or 11 of us that tried out for freshman cross country for that reason. And we ended up being like #1 in the region in cross country. Like none of us knew nothing about cross country.
But you made it
And
#1.
yeah, because we had one dude that was on the squad. He had like an inner track star in him that he didn't know about.
Oh
So
man.
yeah, he was he met cross country and it was instant. He was like great from the first race. And us not knowing no better, we would just try to keep up with him, like out of disbelief that he was that much faster than us for that long a distance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that formula worked, man. We were just trying to keep up with him, and we ended up beating everybody else. So it was funny, man. That's a little funny little story. But yeah, I did that. I did cross country one year, played ball, and then it was funny because the trumpet section leader, the guy's name is Troy Gillespie. He's still a good friend of mine. He played ball too. He didn't play for the squad, but he had ball game. So I was playing in the projects. They had a project called Fifth Ave Projects in Patterson. So I was in the projects one night playing ball. We were playing 3-on-3s, and he was, we were playing against each other, me and him. And he had game. We were going back and forth so much to where afterwards I was like, man, let's get this one-on-one, man. Let's finish this. And we played till the lights came on, me and him, back and forth. He win one, I win one, because he was an upperclassman.
Yeah.
But anyway, when he walked me inside the house, he was like, man, you want some lemonade or something? Like, it's cool. So he walked me inside the house and he picked up his horn and he started practicing. He was playing with some miles. And I was like, man, I knew he was the section leader, he told me, in the band. So anyway, long story short, he was like, I could teach you. And I was like, man, would you? He was like, yeah. So we would play ball and he would teach me a little bit. Plus I took a trumpet class. The next thing you know, he was like, man, you picked it up quick. You should join a band. But the band was so good, I didn't think, I was like, no way I'm good enough to be in the band. He was like, you are. And I tried it. Sure enough, not only did I make it, but I shot up to where I was right under him in about a year.
Scholarship.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Man,
Yep.
so and then you got into Howard, and then all 4 of y'all were at Howard. Matter of fact, the whole group, right?
Yep.
Okay.
That's how we met.
Okay, so we already know what Garfield was doing. How did you meet Carl and Mark? Like, were they also in the band, or they were just around and could sing?
No, actually, so I pledged the fraternity at Howard. I pledged Alpha Phi Alpha.
Okay.
And yeah, so both of those are my frat brothers. Carl actually is my line brother. We pledged together, and Mark pledged us. He's our big brother. Yeah, so I met them, during that whole process, and it came, we came to know that we all were interested in music. So after Carl and I got offline, we started doing some music together, kind of like a writing producer team. He didn't really write and play much, but he wrote lyrics.
Okay.
So I wrote and I played a little bit. So we would go to the studio. I would put music to what he was doing lyrically. And then Mark actually was my housemate at the time. We moved into the same complex. So I would bring home some of the tapes of what me and Carl was doing in the studio and let Mark hear it. And then Mark would ask, let me come to the studio, or let me get with y'all too, and ask, because he played really well. So then, then that was kind of like a formula we added on Mark. And at the time, male groups were starting to become the thing, Boys to Men, Jodeci, whatever. So I don't know, because I guess it was 3 of us that were males. We just started kind of, and we were singing the songs that we were writing too. You could sing. So as we were writing songs, putting them together, and we would sing them, it just kind of started coming together, you know. And then we felt like we had some hit songs. Like, man, these songs that we're putting together are kind of cool. So they had like a local talent show at Howard. So we was like, all right, Howard crowd is rough. Plus those are our friends. So they waiting for us to sound terrible so they can boo us, you know, because
Yeah.
we jokesters, so they just ready to boo anyway, right? So, but actually, and I skipped how Garfield. I had already knew Garfield. That was my man from freshman year, but he came back in the fold kind of just by default. Him coming to watch us rehearse. And then when we would walk back home or whatever, leave rehearsal, he would sing, man, I like that one song. And he would sing it back to me. Then I got that other song, he would sing it back to me. And I would listen. I'm like, man, you know, he raw because he doesn't really sing R&B. He was like a jazz head.
Okay.
You know, if you catch Garfield, when he not listening to hip hop, he just got the jazz station on. Straight ahead, no lyrics, just old school jazz. So the way he even interpreted his R&B was like a jazz instrumentalist. You know, and he didn't have gospel riffs. He didn't have traditional R&B riffs. He was like a saxophone jazz riff, you know what I mean?
That's a perfect way to describe him.
Yeah, that's how so when I would listen to it, I was like, that's interesting. You know, it was an interesting thing. And he was so brave with it. He didn't have no, he just let it go, you know what I mean? So it was like fun to me. It was like a fun combination of us that, you know, we weren't thinking about doing a group. We were just trying it for the Howard crowd. But when they responded the way they did, that's what made us say, man, if they responded like that,
then you can do anything.
Yeah, maybe, you know, because they, you know, you figure Howard crowd represents like a cross reference of like all these different regions, and they like almost like the young who's who, the young valedictorians in their respective cities. So, you know, you can kind of get a micro gauge on what different regions were liking, you know what I mean, what they liked, you know.
So y'all pretty much got up there and they y'all sang a raw, unheard version of If I Ever Fall in Love, right?
Yeah, we sang some Boys and Men first, of course. I think I don't know if we sang two Boys and Men songs or just one.
He told me he told me one was that one.
Right. Right. So hold on, I think my charger's going out. Let me find my charger real quick. But anyway, yeah, I think that was our only song we sang, and then they wanted an encore. So then we did If I Ever. I think that's how it happened. Hold on one second, bro. I'm sorry. They got that court. The one I left yesterday. Did he take it? No, it should be in there on my room. Okay. Yeah, I'm at my friend's studio, man.
Working on some stuff, bro.
Yeah, you know, it's constantly, man. Especially now with the social media. So creating content is, you see, that's why you're doing your podcast, you know.
Exactly.
That's the thing right now. And but anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah. So basically, yeah, that's the gist of it, man. You know, we felt like we had some success at the Howard show. So we figured we'd give it a try, man. And I remember we went and sang our lineup with If I Ever, Comforter, Baby I'm Yours, the first three singles that the label put out. We went and sang that package. You know, in New York, they have the Avenue of the Americas where all the labels are.
Yeah.
We didn't go to every label, but we went to pretty much 3 or 4 of them. And they pretty much, at the time, they y'all not ready right now. You know what I mean? So, I'm sorry, man. Let me plug the phone now.
You good. And why didn't they think y'all was ready?
Well, I know If I Ever, you know, I don't think Boys II Men had dropped Hard to Say Goodbye yet. So a song with no music to it, I don't think labels, you know, they didn't know how it would take pushing at the radio. They felt like it may be too hard for it to fit in the lineup, like a DJ. Like, where would it fit in radio, you know? So, and that's pretty much it. I think, you know, Comforter, I don't know if Comforter or Baby I'm Yours knocked them out. Just, you know, just them hearing us come through, I guess. So we were able to get it on radio ourselves, though, in DC. They had like a local home jam. Local artists can submit their home jams, that type of segment. So we got it in there, and it took off.
I got a much lesser known fact is I heard you played the doom 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 on the beginning of the version of If I Ever Fall with the music behind it. You played the opening.
All of that music.
Oh, so you played everything on that?
Yeah, pretty much. It was like
because it was a sample, wasn't it?
It was from an idea. It was from a song that was a song that I knew. So I didn't sample it. I just took the idea and I had to sing kind of like what the idea was.
Okay.
And the original sample, the bass was like double time, like doom, 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 double time. I just slowed it down, doom, doom, and I put a ring on that last one. You know what I'm saying? And then we did that oohs, the all that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, man. So it just came together. It was like my version of, because at the time, hip hop and R&B hadn't really merged too much yet, but R&B artists were so heavily influenced by hip hop sonically, the production, and vice versa. So I think that was like an attempt for me to put a sample that I like a bass line in there without actually sampling it. Like, let's replay it for R&B style of it. And it worked. You know what I mean?
So, and also pretty much what stands out on that song is at the end, you hit the high note. How many people come up to you or tag you in something, trying to hit that note and mess it up? I know you're tired of seeing that.
No, man, actually, no, actually, not even the high note, just singing If I Ever, period. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like you get people that do it really great, because it's like a karaoke song, all the way to a wedding song. It ranges, a talent show song, a shower song. Like, it's turned into a song that it's like a real sing-along song. So everybody gives it a try. So yeah,
they call y'all the talent show kings, because that's the song everybody goes to.
Right. So you can imagine, I've heard all kind of renditions.
Is it? I when I hear it at karaoke night and that part come up, like we crowd around and we're like, let's see if you can hit this. And I'm like, oh boy, I'm gonna record this and send it to Darnell and let him be the judge of it.
It's so funny, man, because we were in a vibe that night, man, and everything was going. I think at the time, who was it? It was a couple of artists that had shown that kind of range at the time. So me being a musician, music major, trying to get the most out of my instrument, if you will, which now was my voice.
Mm-hmm.
It was a thing, right? It was a thing to just, what could I do well? What could I do? And even though we had hit songs coming out, I was still just getting into being a vocalist, right? Gotcha. I was still heavy in practice mode, practice, try certain things on certain songs, that type of thing, right?
Yeah.
I didn't even think about, when you sing this on that song, it's gonna be a hit, and you're gonna have to sing that high note 100,000 times. Exactly. I didn't think that far ahead.
And now you suffer for it.
Oh no, I've been stopped that. I've been.
You like, nah, I'm over it.
Matter of fact, what was cool was that the guy Mark in the group, he didn't have a lot of lead parts, right?
Yeah.
So that high note was such a big moment in the show, like you said.
Yeah.
So he could do it too, just like me, even higher. I just happened to do it on the song, but he could do it too, right? So in a slick way, I was like, hey, Mark, you don't get a lot of moments in the show. Maybe you should sing it.
You pushed it off on him?
Early, maybe like after the first 10 shows, I was like, forget this crap. I was like, hey, Mark, come here. And then it's been his ever since, man.
Oh man, so you retired the high note after 10 songs.
Nah, I said about a year. About a year, really. We went around one time, did the Super Fest, did all the main tours, and then I stayed about a year or two. Yeah, he had it. It was his.
Man, and that's funny. That's funny you say that because he didn't get a lot of lead parts, but I got to catch y'all. I seen a couple of videos of y'all performing live on YouTube, and I seen you do it on one, and then I caught a video where he did it on the other. I was like, so who hit the note? Because I thought it was him at first. I was like, nah, it's Darnell. It gotta be. So man,
nah, that's good that you thought that. I was trying to get people to think that, wonder that, who is it?
but definitely one of the most underrated songs on that album is Changes.
Oh,
and I heard you.
Oh yeah, I like that.
And
Mark, wait. Me and Mark wrote that both together and then we did a remix on the remix album. Yeah. So, but I think he wrote the lyrics, if I'm not mistaken.
And I was sitting there, I'm like, I wonder why they didn't make this a single. It should have been definitely a single because I'm like, this flows. Like it's like the composition, the vocals, like y'all's vocals, like, cause I know that was you and Mark. Like I could hear y'all. You did the lead, Mark did that, and all alone you, and then here come Garfield, baby, I'm gone, and it just goes from there. I'm like, yo, this is a solid song, and I'm like, yo, y'all need to make that a single. I don't even think y'all saying that live, do y'all?
I don't think we ever did either.
I'm on to something. I'm on to something. I'll sing it for y'all.
Right. Yeah, I like that song, man.
It's definitely an underrated song. What's the song that y'all did that like you wanted like to blow, but it didn't?
The one with KRS-One? We did one with KRS-One.
First album, was it, or the second one?
Nah, this was maybe like, maybe like a third or fourth. This was after we left MCA.
Okay.
And then as we were looking, to possibly sign with another major, there was a guy, he passed away, named Michael Jackson. He used to be a receiver for the Baltimore Ravens.
Okay.
And so he was starting the independent, but what really interested us about going there was one of our guys that used to work at MCA named Red. He was heavy on the distribution side, which a lot of artists, we never really get much representation or insiders on the distribution side, right? So he had just moved over to, they were an indie distributor, but he was coming from a major and they had got really big. They got a lot of backing behind them. I forgot what they were called. That might be a good research question for you, but
I'm gonna definitely dig that up.
Yeah, but when he switched over, the guy Michael Jackson and their label, they had a couple of Ravens, a couple of football players that he got some money together, and they had Red and them backing them on the distribution. So I felt like it was a cool little move. It wasn't a major, but it was a cool little grassroots. It was like what we see now, social media and independence. It was like the first phases of that movement.
Gotcha.
So so we went with these cats, and then it was interesting too because they let us, to a degree, kind of do a couple of things that we wanted to do musically, such as do that feature KRS-One on this song. You know what I mean? So they paid him to come in, and that was a great experience. You know what I mean? But that song, I wish would have, what the song is about, having Shai and KRS-One collab.
Definitely.
Yeah, that, and then the one we did with Jay-Z, it blew in New York, but
I heard that one.
Yeah, but it didn't blow nationally. That would have been nice.
It's pretty much the first album classic. I love the second album also, but it's like that. It's a complete difference from the first album and the second album. First album, like I heard like he told me it was rushed. Like y'all had probably a couple weeks to do that album. Second one, you had more of time to write, produce, really get a feel of the album. But I think people were expecting y'all to do like another, acapella type thing. Why did y'all choose to switch it up and then do something completely different on the second album?
Well, okay, so and this is what's crazy, man. This is what a lot of artists go through, right? Because you got so many business interests once you do a deal And the record company's bottom line is selling records, right?
Yeah.
And yours is too, but you are artists too. You still trying to, like I said, exchange, a certain type of thing with the fans sonically and artistically, right?
Yeah.
So, but the label, not so much. They just like, man, just make dollars and cents. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So you start this kind of give and take, like, negotiating right from the beginning. All right, well, it's easier for us to push and get radio to spin this if you give me this type of record.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then you like, we ain't that kind of group though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
And then y'all start that back and forth. So then you don't want to push a total hard line. So you're like, all right, I'll give you one or two of them records. And then once you do that, they like, that's the single. You know what I mean? And you like, so it's just, it's like, you some of that. And then even within the group, some people, how you say, they want to drift off into other musical expressions. They want to try certain things. Some people want to do more, like you said, of a traditional next step from what we did the first album. And you got 4 people, and then, everybody's writers and producers. Unlike, if you have a group where it's just one writer producer, then, But even with Wu-Tang, you listen to some of them cats and they'll be like, man, RZA went off on the beat. And that's part of it too, man. Like sometimes as an artist, you don't know what you're gonna channel. You know what I mean? And
gotcha.
So So
and it's like you said, like it was a lot of stuff, happening back then, especially like y'all, it was competition. Like y'all came out with what, 92?
Yep.
92. So like you said, Jodeci just came out, Boys and Men was out. There was so many groups, High Five is still out. It was a lot of groups. So who were the groups like that came out with something? You was like, okay, now we gotta break that fire. Like they just dropped this. I can't let that happen. Let's get in the studio. Let's do this.
Man, that happened every week, it seemed like.
Because it's like 100 weeks.
I mean, because it was like, I don't know, man. Like you said, we just came in a sweet spot in time. It just it spit out so much real talent. It wasn't even like it was gimmicky, like, or everybody trying to sign a group. I mean, each group was legit. Silk, H-Town, Shai, Jodeci, Boys the Men. And then you have Portrait.
I was just about to name them.
Color Me Bad.
Yeah.
Like you said, High Five, Riff, with Lean On Me. They were out before us. True.
Yeah.
And everybody had hits, so then you had the female side, SWV and
Escape, and
TLC, Escape, so, and yeah, man, it was a really good time. I think, Silk, I'll tell you one funny story.
Yeah.
Silk kind of came out like shortly, I think after or right around when we did. And people were likening our contrast to Jodeci and Boys the Men's contrast to a degree, right? So, we were kind of, before we met each other, that was kind of like the thing, where Silk at, we're Shai at in the on the charts, back and forth. So I remember we had a show, I think it was in Houston. It was like our first time having a little show together. We kind of doing like what they call the Chipman circuit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So it was a small club. So I remember we came in and they were sitting at the table with Keith Sweat, because Keith Sweat, he brought them out. You know what I mean? So I remember they were sitting at the table with Keith Sweat. We walked in, what's up, fellas, And I remember, just that energy in the air of like, Silk and Shai, they the main groups kind of battling. They both here.
Yeah.
So then, you kind of looking over at their table, they looking over at our table, that type of thing, right? So then on stage, though, as we paying attention to them, I hear this, what turns out to be Knocking the Boots, right? I hear this other group that's opening up called H-Town. So I'm listening, like, and then my attention focuses to the stage, like, wait a minute, who are these guys?
Yeah.
Like, man, this song right here is a banger. Like, and I remember they weren't out yet. They just opened up for us, and then
so they just dropped a new song on the show. And he was like, damn, like no, like they new cats, like new.
Yeah, because we were in Houston.
Yeah,
so that's where they from, right? So they was like buzzing in Houston, but they hadn't dropped a single yet on radio.
Okay, nationally, got you. Okay,
right. So locally, I guess whoever the promoter was, they was hot enough for the local promoter to have them open for us.
Man,
for us and Silk, yeah. And so they sang that song though, and I remember us and Silk both was like, "Yo, who was that?" Right?
Y'all forgot about each other. Y'all was like, "Bro, no."
Right.
That's
oh man, they gonna be coming. So I knew. And maybe like 2 weeks later, something like that. I remember we were in Dallas. Because we were on a promotional tour. And so we were doing radio in Dallas. I remember we came down to the limo and they turned the station on and that song was on Knocking the Boots. I was like, man, that's those guys, man. I knew it was gonna be on the radio.
yeah. And that's crazy. Like R.I.P. to Dino. He was one of the strongest R&B like lead singers ever.
Man.
That grit, the growl he did, that southern draw, I'm like, yo, this
that was from the soul.
He got it. He definitely got it. He was one of the strongest leads. You definitely in the talks with that. Lil G, who else? Cisco, KC, JoJo, like y'all, you're in that category with them, just based off of your writing and your vocals, bro. Because Comforter, Baby I'm Yours, like all that, like this, bro, like I applaud that.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you, man, some of the best sessions I ever been in was like, the show is over, we all chilling in the lobby together. After a couple of drinks, all the crowd is gone, and we got some of the dudes from the band at the piano, and we just all vibing, singing Take 6 songs or whatever it may be. Everybody from different groups, JoJo or Joe Little from Rude Boys or this, and we all just in the bathroom. Like it would be so many of them just impromptu jump offs. And we didn't have social media. If we did at the time, oh my God, man, the world would have been privy to some wonderful sessions.
We definitely missed out on a lot.
Yeah, man, because we had some good ones, man. That was really dope. And then, like, it was funny because looking back, I was like 22 when we came out. And like I said, I was a music major. So all of the cats in the music department at Howard, these are all my cats, right?
Yeah.
So when we got a deal, one of the things that I really loved that we were able to do was go back and pluck all our band and all our cats from Howard to come on the road with us, put some money in their jobs, basically employ them, you know what I mean? But they were so dope. I remember they came on the road, because on the road, it's kind of like tour musicians that kind of go around. They change groups, but they do the circuits over and over, so they kind of like a fraternity. But I remember my guys, they were new. They just came out of college and people heard about them quick. So that was like the talk of our tour. Not only did we have really good hits and all that, but the band knew, like, yo, Shai's band, yo, them dudes are sick, So it was fun, man. It was a lot of mutual respect, a lot of mutual admiration between the groups, support, and yeah, man, it was just a good time, man.
And me talking to G, like he definitely like loves y'all, his brothers, loves the group. But one thing he did not like a lot was the music videos. He was like, I hated that video.
Oh yeah,
I hated that video.
Yeah, that was one of those compromises I had to tell you about.
He hated the video. I'm like, you didn't like none of the videos? He's like, bro, no. He's like, I didn't care for them. Like, they were cheap, and we looked crazy. I didn't like it.
Yeah, for real.
You feel the same way?
Like, it's funny because I didn't have much frame of reference. Because, like I said, videos in general had just started coming out.
Okay.
Well, they have been out, but rock and all that. I just really looked at hip hop videos mostly as a kid. R&B sometimes, like New Edition,
Yeah.
But right, and even their backdrop was like the projects or the school or the ball court. It wasn't like a glamorous set where they, not yet. They were kids,
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know, they had a weird, like, type of, like, how could I say, man? They had a weird way that they, I guess, I don't know what it was, man. I don't know if it was rock. I don't know what they were looking at, meaning these executives. I don't know what they were looking at as like this polished type of thing that you gotta be in to sell records.
Yeah.
I remember Jodeci was like a big thing to executives that they can actually sell records looking like that.
Yeah.
That was like a thing, you know what I mean? So I don't know. To me, I didn't really care for him too much, but then at the same time, I didn't hate him.
Okay.
You know, because it's like, I don't know, the actual video shoot experience was kind of fun, shooting a video.
When you go back and watch it, you're like, damn, like, hey, it's out now.
Yeah, I didn't, like I don't know, it's
Baby
weird
I'm Yours
because
video was great. I like that video. That was a great video to me. The Baby I'm Yours video. Y'all start off singing on the bleachers, then y'all walking through the campus, messing with girls, and then you and G in the dorm room throwing paper at each other. That was natural. Like, it looked natural.
Yeah. If I Ever in Comforter was kind of strange.
It's strange.
Yeah.
Yo.
And the thing was, the guy who shot it was cool. This guy named Ian. He like an Australian dude with the flowy hair.
Yeah.
And he used to manage, remember the group called Booyah Tribe?
I heard of them.
Booyah Tribe was these huge Samoans, huge. And they did like R&B rap type of thing, right? They was from Cali. And he was their manager. And I remember when we did If I Ever, we were editing in an editing lab with him. The editing lab was like, 6 feet across, maybe, maybe 20, maybe 30 feet long. So these dudes averaged like 300 pounds.
Damn.
Man, they walked in the lab like, and they had the braids on with the shades. I think they Bloods. I think that's what their gang is. And they all ready with the bandanas on, and they came in like, man, we love you guys, man. You're our favorite group, and this, that. I was like, wow, we just clicked so well. We just hit it off. That was like the first group we met in LA. You know what I mean? So, so I don't know. I'm saying all that to say, Ian and the group, they were so cool. I think I kind of let it blend into the whole experience. It was like, all right, shooting If I Ever, like he wouldn't have been somebody I picked to really be able to shoot what we talking about as far as Black love. Ian wouldn't be the person like I look out the crowd and like, oh, Ian, he would know. But again, like I said, man, it's like favors. You get in the industry and it's like, okay, Ian is the CEO's boy. Somehow they know each other. You get that off the top. Like, okay, he trying to shoot Ian some money out our budget.
Yeah.
All right. Then you meet Ian and Ian is cool. You're like, all right, go ahead. Rock on then, So it worked. The women were beautiful in the video and
definitely
people liked it, But Comforter was definitely strange. I didn't know where he was going with Comforter. I'm like, Ian, man, you all over the place, bro. You got us in the water with a weird mirror. What's the mirror about, Ian? He like, and then the wardrobe was always terrible. G. Garfield fought them. Man, they would roll out the wardrobe. I would look over like, bro, man, like what you trying to do? Like for real, I'm trying to sneak us into some kind of weird outfit. Like what y'all trying to do, bro?
Like talking to you like that, like I know your personality now, so I can see your face as they roll the wardrobe out. You like, bro, like.
Oh man, hey, look, the first time they came on If I Ever, right? and the makeup lady stopped the camera. She was like, makeup, and she stopped. She came across with the little makeup. I was like, what you doing? She was like, oh, we put on the makeup because it keeps the shine off the. I was like, nah, no makeup, no makeup. So she was like, all right, well, could I just pat you because you sweating under the lights? I was like, all right, you can pat me with a dry towel. So, and she had like this real chirpy voice, right? So for the whole rest of the set, every time she would come by, we'd be like, make up. Like,
Yeah.
we were teasing, right? But anyway, yeah, but that I don't know if you noticed. Luckily, they put it in black and white, but they have me in this blue shirt, man, with flowers.
I saw that.
And that was the best that they had, bro. I'm talking about when I looked at all the rest of them, I was like, yeah, they wouldn't let us leave because they was on the clock. We couldn't leave the warehouse and go shopping. So I was like, all right, give me the blue with the flowers, bro. Just give me the blue.
Man, it's funny because I just like watched all the videos before I interviewed you. I was watching Comfort. I was like, you know what? This was different. I see what Garfield was talking about. He really didn't care for this one in particular. But I'm like, now you tell me the backstory. I'm like, okay, I see now.
I'm from Patterson, right? So you can imagine the grief I got over the blue with the flowers.
Damn.
It was bad, bro. It was bad.
Oh man, that is hilarious.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad.
Oh man. Oh bro, shit. I ain't gonna hold you long. I know you said you got something to do at 6, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is pre-recorded, so I'm gonna drop this episode, next week or the week after. I'm gonna definitely let you know. So tell the people, what you got working on and where to find you on social media. You can go ahead and shout that out.
We doing some new content, man, some new music. Garfield has a solo project that he's about to drop, like a couple of songs, and I produced and sang a couple of those with him. So I think that'll probably be the first thing out of camp coming soon. And then we doing some more, maybe me and projects with me and him, projects with the whole group. The two of the original members, Carl and Mark, left. So we picked up some of our other brothers that sing really well that we grew up with. So this will be the first time doing a Shai album with this new configuration. But we got some talks about doing that soon, at least a single or two, put something out there. And hopefully, man, our Shai story, man, some, like what do you call it? A biopic.
Yeah, I was wondering why y'all didn't have an unsung. Everybody got one, but I'm like, Shai ain't got one. Rude Boys don't have one. Men at Large don't have one. I'm like, what? Like, what's the hold up with this one?
Well, we had spoke to him. Matter of fact, we had tried to get the original members back together a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And right at the time, like literally, we had a meeting or two. Then maybe we had one session together in the studio just to get everybody back acclimated. And then that's right when they Unsung called, right?
Yeah.
And they wanted us to talk about the issues that broke the group up and all that.
And we came back up.
The timing ain't right now. We just getting back together.
Yeah.
And so we tried to have them like, yo, could we just talk about maybe some of the other issues with the industry, this and that, but they was hell bent on that part of the story.
Mm.
So we passed on it right then. Like, all right, we'll double back on you because time ain't right for us to bring up them old memories right now. We just get back together.
Yeah.
So then it didn't work out with the originals getting back together. So the other two went their separate ways again.
Mm-hmm.
So then when we talked to them again, this time it was like, all right, well, we need at least 3 of the originals.
Okay.
Can you at least get one of the other guys? So we were like, man, it just probably ain't meant to be right now. You know what I mean? Maybe that was the universe saying, hey, put your own story out yourself. But maybe we'll do it unsung. We'll see.
Hey, that'll be good. I mean, we would love to see the originals back because that's what people were introduced to. Because you see, Drew Hill had enough members to create a choir at this point. They have enough members to do, to go on and on. So I mean, I understand why y'all passed on that, which was good because y'all ain't want to be. It's too early to be messy. That's what Unsung wants to hear.
Right.
But definitely, I hope we definitely get that, and I look forward to the projects y'all definitely have coming. So make sure y'all check that out. And what's your social media handle, bro?
Either Shieroglyphics. Shieroglyphics is like a play on words. Shai is an ancient Egyptian word for destiny, right?
Yeah.
So Shai and hieroglyphics, we made a hybrid kind of word. And that's going to be pretty much the entity that we drop in content under going forward. So Hieroglyphics, I forget exactly, but Hieroglyphics on IG, Twitter, everything. And then my specific one is Shai 90s Darnell.
Okay.
So yeah.
Bet, that's what I'm talking about. All right, I'm gonna close this out and then don't hang up yet after I wrap this up. Thank y'all for tuning in. This is Marlon Ballard with the Love to Laugh podcast. I was joined by my boy Darnell from Shai. Make sure y'all check him out and support R&B music. We need it in this world. All right, y'all. Peace.